This is Independent Talk on Power 106 FM, and time now for Grand Jamaica Homecoming. Joining us this morning, Rose Chin and Fahad Pinto. Both are members of the Grand Jamaica Homecoming Committee, Toronto. Rose, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great.
Good to have you on with us. And Fahad, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Let me start with you, Rose. Tell us briefly why you thought it was so important for some of the Grand Jamaica Homecoming Committee members to come home on a tour of the island.
Well, if we're going to encourage people to go home, then we should know what we're sending them to, right? A lot of us who have left Jamaica for so many years don't really know what Jamaica is. We only know school and home, so I thought maybe we should all go back home and see what Jamaica is all about and experience some of what the tourists are experiencing, as well as go back to some of our nostalgic places that we know.
How did you go about choosing the various spots on the trip?
Well, I chose where the tourists would go first, and then we said we would wing it from there, and then we would, I would want to go back to, like I was born in Kingston, but the only thing I know about Kingston is school and Hope Gardens. I wanted to go to Trench Town, just to see what it was all about.
You stepped away from the beaten path, so to speak, and moved into other areas.
Right.
Great. Fahad, I would like to know a little bit about you and how you came to love this island so much.
Well, I grew up in Toronto, in Scarborough, and a lot of my friends at school and church were from the Caribbean, from Jamaica and from Trinidad and from Dominica and so on. So I've sort of been infused with a lot of things Jamaican growing up, and I think infused is a good word to describe it.
What made you decide to take the trip with Rose, and did the trip meet your expectations?
Yeah, well, Rose and I are, as Rose said, Rose and I are on the Jamaica Homecoming Committee, and she had planned this trip for those who couldn't make it down, or those who could make it, rather. So there was no real decision on whether or not I was going to go or I was going to join. I was definitely going. And whether the trip met my expectations, it met my expectations and more. I grew up hearing a lot about Jamaica from friends and from my Jamaican aunties at church and a close family friend, we call her Japo. She used to tell us stories of Jamaica too and cook for us and all that. So I just simply wanted to take it all in, and so I did. I enjoyed every moment of my time in Jamaica, and even the mosquitoes didn't bother me because I couldn't be bothered with them. I couldn't be bothered with them while I focused on eating mangoes all day and every day.
You simply forgot there. What was your favorite spot or experience while on the trip?
Okay, so there were many really good experiences. I liked eating shrimp from Middle Quarters. The pepper shrimp was amazing, and that hot shrimp soup from the black pot, it was on a wood stove right by the roadside. It had a thick pumpkin soup with like the good juicy shrimp inside. It was so good.
You're sure you're not Jamaican?
Hey, he was also drunk. He didn't tell you that.
Rose, he sounds so Jamaican. He sounds as if, this is something.
I've been here 36 years, but why should I not be a Jamaican?
I tell you. No, what was your favorite place to visit on your trip home this time, Rose?
Oh, well, Oterias, because my daughter and my grandchildren live there. So it's always home for me. I come home 2-3 times a year,
If we think of all the things that you have been planning together for this Grand Jamaica Homecoming experience, what would you say to others who are there in Toronto, other parts of Canada? They're thinking about making the trip home, but they're not quite sure what to expect. Rose?
Well, they should go home. It is really a moving experience. It was a moving experience for me, We should go out and meet the people. They're not what we read about. Okay, we get a lot of bad press.
Mm-hmm.
But the Jamaicans, the true Jamaicans, are not what we are reading about. They're so nice out there. And I was telling someone after I came back that the Jamaicans are really good-looking people. I went in Descendants. I went up, I think it's a place called, can't remember, but they have this fire on the water. And those boys up there are so good looking. I just couldn't get over it.
I tell you.
I will send you some photographs of them.
You should. What was your biggest surprise of the island? Something that you didn't at all expect?
You know what? When a group of Jamaicans gather together, you hear a lot of loud talking and some bad words, cussing and all that, you know. I never heard that. We should go back to Jamaica and we should do like what China says. We should keep Jamaica green. We should go back and spend money in Jamaica.
Fahad, what was the biggest surprise for you? Something that you didn't expect?
Well, for me, I think if I think about it, it was the weather. I thought Canadian weather was unpredictable, but in Jamaica, we'd have rain in the morning and sunshine in the afternoon. And some days we'd see the clouds in the mountains in the next parish, and we'd pray. We'd say, Lord, please don't send the clouds this way. And then we'd have sunny weather where we were. So you couldn't really tell what the weather would be like the next day. And so that was a bit of a surprise because I was always expecting, sunny weather all the time.
So not very much different in terms of, well, certainly in terms of the feel of the weather. The temperature is different. But in terms of, as you say, the weather patterns, and perhaps it is a thing having to do with the climatic changes that we're experiencing worldwide as well, eh?
Right.
Yes.
But, I mean, as not being to Jamaica before and always seeing, the beach pictures, of course I expected rain and stuff in monsoon season, but I was just surprised that the weather was so unpredictable, but, never stopped us from doing what we had to do anyways.
Good.
But, the unpredictable weather.
What it was? I think he just loved the Jamaican women. We're all over him,
Rose,
boy,
You're
all over him.
You're sure Fahad want us to know all of these things about him, all of these things that he did on the trip, enjoying himself? Fahad?
Well, I'm saying what happens in Jamaica, Rose stays in Jamaica.
Well, it's certainly not staying in Jamaica this morning. Rose, for those persons...
You should read my log about it.
I tell you. For those persons who are thinking about coming home, not just for the celebrations, but any time of the year, what would you say to them?
As I said before, I think they should go home. They should go out and embrace the people and spend some money down there. Not in the bigger places, but in the smaller shops, the rum bars, the little higglers, wherever they can spend it, they should spend it.
And Fahad, what would you say to your friends that have never visited Jamaica, or simply to those persons who are listening overseas about coming home to the island or coming to visit the island?
Well, I just say just book a ticket and visit already. We're blessed because Jamaica is so, relatively close to Canada, but even otherwise, access to Jamaica is pretty easy. So I'd say if you have family in Jamaica, that's even better. And if you need someone to carry your bags down, just ask me.
Rose, I tell you, it is clear to me that, the experiences that he had learning about the island prior to coming here, those experiences have been trumped by actually visiting the island. That's a good thing.
Right.
That's a good thing.
He loved it, and I was so glad to be a part of our team. There were 3 of us who went down because we had to experience this to tell our committees. We had Heather, who was with the Jamaica 50 committee, and we wanted to go down there and really experience it so that we can tell the people to really go home,
Well, hopefully we're getting more and more of our friends from the Canadian diaspora visiting the country come independence and beyond, because this is a relationship that we need to continue to build.
Right, and so I think we are committed to try and do that, to try and encourage them to come home.
All right, great. Well, we certainly want to thank you both very much for joining us this morning. Sounds as if the trip was very exciting. And Fahad, I hope you get a chance to come on that you don't have to carry anybody's bags in order to do so. Simply just come back and enjoy yourself.
Of course.
All right, thank you both for this morning. That was Rose Chin and Fahad Pinto, and they're members of the Grand Jamaica Homecoming Committee. This is Independent Talk on Power 106.